Okay, let me get this straight. You know how I hate doing that. Donald Trump just came up with what he calls kind reciprocal tariffs. He doesn't understand any of those words. I'm going to get the chalkboard and then I'm going to sort it out for you. Let's go. There's one word to describe Donald Trump. It is kind. Penguins. The man is putting tariffs on penguins. Brace yourself. Kind. Reciprocal tariffs. Is he just making words up now? Like terminology? Is that what we're doing? First of all, CF47, that's my pet name for him, isn't placing reciprocal tariffs on anybody. A, he doesn't know what the word reciprocal means. B, he really hasn't even figured out what the tariffs are from those other countries on imported American goods to give a reciprocal tariff. So what has he done? He's added this word kind to make him seem like a giant teddy bear while he completely and utterly destroys all mathematical formula. We all know he banned grade 10 math in the United States of America. How the heck could he ever understand reciprocal anyway? Let's focus on Madagascar from that long list of 185 countries he's placed tariffs on. Why Madagascar? Because it was a really good cartoon and it brought me joy. Here we go. Donald Trump says Madagascar, wait for it, has put a 93% average tariff against the United States of America. So what has Donald Trump decided? Well, he's going to be nice and he's only going to charge a kind reciprocal, again, made up words, of 47% on all goods coming from Madagascar going into the United States. He's just going to charge this. I'm going to explain what this means in a second because he's using terminology that nobody actually understands. He chooses to use ChatGPT. Do you think one of his interns do it or, First, let's talk about how Trump came up with the 93% tariff that he says the Madagascar government is placing on the United States. Now, pause. That's the first problem because a tariff isn't placed on a country. A tariff is placed on imports coming into the country. You want to know who pays the tariff? The companies in country. So companies in Madagascar should be paying a 93% tariff on all imported goods coming from the United States into Madagascar. Is that happening? Absolutely not. Let me show you his math. Are you ready for some fun math? First, he takes the trade deficit. He takes that number. What's that number? 79.8 million. That's the trade deficit. Now, I'm going to explain what a trade deficit is to you, and if you could pass it along to CF47, that would be fantastic. A trade deficit means that the United States is buying more from Madagascar than Madagascar is buying from the United States. Want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because the United States has a huge population, and they are one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest country in the world. The fact that there's a trade deficit, that they're buying more, makes perfect sense because you're winning the capitalist game. Nonetheless, move on. He then takes the imports from the United States, from US, going into Madagascar, 733.2 million, okay? So you have that number, and you have this number. And now we're going to do some fancy math that makes absolutely no sense and has absolutely nothing to do with trade deficits and trade war. You make a history teacher do math, you understand that it really gets in my 679.8 million divided by 733, what was it? 0.2 million. What's that number, Alex? Hint, it ends up being a percentage as if you did a really, really big test. The answer ends up being 93%. Is that the tariff that Madagascar is putting on imports? Absolutely not. It's some odd amalgamation and mathematical formula of a trade deficit that's going on between one of the biggest countries and smallest countries in the world. I wonder if CF47 knows how to do percentages. Or is that ChatGPT as well? So the CF47 has decided that's the tariff that Madagascar is putting on imports. That actually is not it right now, just so we know. Customs in Madagascar is putting on approximately a 20% import tax, import duty, I know I said duty, and only on approximately 40% of imports. So not even on all imports. I'm assuming nobody actually wanted to look up the real numbers. Let me reiterate. A tariff is a tax placed on incoming goods imposed by the government, paid for by the importer, and eventually the consumer within that country. How can I get that definition embedded into CF47's head? Maybe I should tattoo it onto Elon Musk's, but no. So when CF47 and his made-up numbers end up creating another number that he will now tariff all of these countries across the board, that tariff is going to be paid for by American companies and eventually Americans. This reality has caused economists all over the United States to say this is going to be the single biggest tax hike in American history. From his insane mathematical ChatGPT formula, China, he is going to place a 34% tariff on China, 39% on the EU, 46% on Japan, and 52% onto India. Want to know who's going to pay for that? American citizens. I should just send down calculators to the United States to help them out. Now, are tariffs going to bring in revenue? Yes, they are. Guys, tariffs are going to bring in money. So what is Trump going to do with all of this newfound wealth? I'm not going to talk about where he's getting it from. Is he going to give it to the deficit? No. Is he going to invest in social programs? No. Education? Heck no. Right? What is he going to use all of this money for? He is going to use it to fund, wait for it, one of the biggest tax savings for billionaires in the United States. Guess who's paying for this? Americans. You got the right answer. And because you got the right answer, you will suffer a major recession, possibly a depression over the next 5 years. 47 has called this Liberation Day. Now the funny part is, I'm starting to question what everybody's going to be liberated from. By the sounds of it, mostly it's their money. But that's not all, Johnny. You have China, Japan, and South Korea now united. You can't get those people in the same room to do anything. There are generations of hate between those countries. But you know what? This has caused them to unite and forge alliances. You have the EU, Canada, and Mexico now talking. You have Canada talking free trade with China. You have BRICS nations establishing their own possible currency to go up against the United Nations. So what is it Liberation Day from? I'm going to tell you what it's from. It's from the United States leadership. I even told you the worst part. To sum up, CF47 also put a blanket 10% tariff on 2 islands in Antarctica. The only inhabitants? Penguins. Are they communist penguins? Are they rebel penguins? Are they hiding in the ice? Are they happy feet? Because I swear, if I find out there's singing penguins up there and you put a tariff on them, I can't be held responsible for what I'm going to do, you soft piece of celery.